Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to make a point about the fact that you're turning up for this in minus whatever the temperature is at the moment from your field.
But the sun's shining, so what more can we
Yeah,
ask?
it is exactly beautiful
Absolutely
morning.
beautiful morning today. So I have noticed, though, I am really this last week because Mick, my partner's been away for 2 weeks, which means I'm left to deal with everything. And it always happens that when he's away, I end up having to cover more shifts at work, which puts on more stress because, as you know, I like everything to be in my little planned time slots of
Yeah, yeah.
5 minutes. So I've on Tuesday, I didn't have time to go to the petrol station in my allotted 5 minutes of planned time because the queue was too long. So in my head, I'd already calculated that it would overrun my 5 minutes and that wouldn't, so I missed it, which meant I then drove home from work with my warning light on. And normally I would drive the whole way along Beckhampton Road, which has no areas to pull over, with
Oh yeah,
my
I know.
clutching the steering wheel, and I would just be if I break down, oh my God, if I break down, and I would do that the whole way home, and I would end up feeling quite tense and sick with stress about it. And I sort of got to the Beckhampton roundabout, and I thought, is worrying going to make my diesel last anymore? Is being anxious ever going to give me more diesel? It's just pointless. If I break down, I break down, and I just have to deal with that. And I drove home, and I got home, and I was like, actually feel quite calm, which is unusual because I would have got all the way home and gone, phew, I made it and I didn't break down. And it never have occurred to me that I just spent a whole 40-minute journey worrying about something that wasn't even going to happen. So I was quite pleased with that and I felt relieved. And then on Wednesday night, I was up at the field at 10 o'clock at night in the freezing cold to make sure the horses had enough water because I knew I had to be in early on Thursday. And I got to the field on Thursday and they had kicked the water bucks over and the houses had frozen.
Oh,
I hadn't allotted any time to go home and fill the water up. And I just stood there and I thought, I started running through things that we've covered in the program about it not being outside problems. It's what I'm making it. And I
yeah.
thought that's fine. So I rang work and I explained. And the manager, she said, that's if you need an extra hour, take the extra hour. And whereas I'd have normally driven home, it's only a 7 minute drive from the field. And I know it's a 7 minute drive if everyone's off the road.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was school run. I would have been angry at other drivers. I'd have been, you're in my way, you're making me late. And I would have just spent it would have been a really manic, frantic, and I'd been quite worked up about it. I didn't. I drove home. I filled the water butts up. I even had time for breakfast while I was waiting for them to fill up. And I drove back, and the whole time I kept thinking to myself, "This is so not like you," because I wasn't even looking at the clock, and my whole 5 minute time it didn't matter. And I got to work when I got to work, and I hadn't missed anything, and it just wasn't. It wasn't such a huge deal that I would have normally made it into. I would have been in tears at that point if I turned up normally and seen that the water, because in my head I would have not been able to process the fact that I'm not going to be on time for what I'd planned. And
Yeah.
I always think of that saying that you said at the beginning of this with the young kid that went, I told myself this is how it was going to be.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's,
That's
yeah,
lots of babes. Yeah.
it's a huge thing for me now because I keep thinking, how many situations have I become really anxious and stressed over and been angry at other people because I told myself that that's how it was going to work. And I didn't tell anyone else how it's going to work. And nobody knew that's what I was expecting. But I kind of thought they should know that. So this week, I've been pretty chilled out. And it has been, I work on the reception on a Thursday. And even Margaret said to me, you don't seem so uptight.
Wow. I mean, that's what's amazing, isn't it? When it's not only that you notice things yourself, it's when other people notice.
Yeah. And I've just not, I don't know. I mean, it's there's still things that I notice, but I kind of notice it more. I notice that in my
Yeah.
head, I kind of go, this isn't how it's going to be. And you know
Yeah.
that that's not how it's going to be.
This is brilliant. I mean, we've still got one session to go, and it has really just been an introduction. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, what would you say to anybody who's, looking at this and thinking of joining?
it's not, it's, I find it, I struggle to ask for help. I don't like asking people for help. And you kind of worry that asking for help it's not the hardest thing in the world. It's actually a lot easier than you think it is. And you're not asking for help because you can't cope with things. You're just asking to be shown a different way of coping with things
Yeah,
and dealing with things. And we get, I mean, what can you lose? Give it a go. I
exactly.
I
Yeah.
like the group aspect of it because some of the other people on the group, it was really interesting. There's one that has the same issues that I have. So actually knowing that, oh, I'm not the only person that does
Yeah,
this.
that's a big thing too, isn't it? Because we always imagine that we're the only person that struggles with the things that we struggle with, you know, and you look at everyone else thinking, oh my God, they're doing okay, you know, what's wrong with me?
And
So
yeah, and it's amazing because they're everyone on the group seems to be from complete different backgrounds, different ages, different situations in life, and it's nice to know that you're not. It's not that you're not the only person doing it because obviously but it's nice to hear other people that are dealing with the same issues as you come up with a solution because
yeah.
we can't. I can't see the way out sometimes. I get obsessed with things and how things have to be, and I've sort of come to accept the fact that I can't live like that anymore. So
Oh,
I've
that's
been really, really nice. I just feel quite, quite chilled.
I have to tell you something that's quite funny. While we've been talking, just to add to this, I think we've had a power cut because my electric's all gone off. Fortunately, I'm not stressed about it because I tried to fiddle with my light, then I realized that everything's gone off. So yeah. So
Exactly.
me
That's it.
too. I didn't get stressed.
I mean, if you can change things, I used to be like that. I used to be so kind of, I mean, what's the point in getting upset? If tears could fix something, then cry, but they can't, so don't waste your time on it. And that's how I used to be. And I don't really understand when I didn't notice when I changed. I mean, I count my steps on things, and if I haven't done, I know it's 92 steps from my car to the where I'm sat now. And if I count 87, I start thinking, well, how did I miss? What have I missed?
I think
And
I think Joe, I think we've got more work to do maybe.
I don't do it as much anymore. Or I don't, if I count 87, it's not bothering me because I just think,
Yeah,
well, I took a bigger step earlier on.
that's brilliant. Well, listen, thank you for that. Thank you so much.
So,
And yeah, and I'm looking forward to the last session and then to chat about where we go from there.
I'm kind of sad when it finishes, actually.
Well, a little bit, there'll be more. Okay, I'm gonna